Good morning and welcome to my audience. Can you remember your last dream or why you had it? You could have been flying, soaring through skyscrapers, or on the other hand, like me, you could have woken up from a nightmare of forgetting to study for your comm speech. Whatever your experience with dreams, whether it be experiences with your lost loved ones or maybe just dreams of another life. What is it to dream and how is it to dream and why do you dream? So those are some of the questions I'm going to be going into today. So I'm going to start you guys off with just some general info. So the Oxford Dictionary definition of dream is a series of thoughts, images, and sensations occurring in a person's mind while they go to sleep. So dream comes from the Middle English word drem, D-R-E-M-E, which means joy or music. You see, dreams have been an important part of human culture for just about as long as we can remember. Dreams date back to some of the earliest history of human beings. And in a history of dreams research on the world of luciddreaming.com, the author Rebecca Turner dates dreams back to over 5,000 years ago in ancient Egypt. So they didn't exactly understand what dreams were back then, but now that we have new technology, we can kind of shed light on what we've been experiencing for all these years. So we all know that dreams help the body, or sleep helps the body. It helps the body recuperate and rest. But what are some of the reasons that we actually have dreams? I mean, why when we go to sleep do we dream 4 or 5 times in a single night? So under some further research, we found that there are actually physiological and psychological reasons we have dreams. And now that we have some of those tools to understand them, I'm going to talk about that. So in Why Your Brain Needs to Dream, the author Matthew Walker's research suggests that dreams actually heal your psyche in the process of sleeping. So when you go through a traumatic experience during the day, you have all sorts of stress hormones bouncing around in your brain. But as you go to sleep, when your brain is encoding these memories in your brain, as you're asleep, it takes those memories, some of those stressful memories from the day, and it processes them through your brain in the absence of stress hormones like noradrenaline that would normally trigger an emotional response in you, like while you're awake. So it allows you to process those dreams and those experiences from the daytime into your brain without being stressed out and without having the adverse physical responses to those experiences. So now we know dreams have psychological effects as well as physiological. I'm going to talk about some of where dreams come into the raw mechanics of the sleep cycle and just a little bit about what actually goes on while you're asleep and when dreams take place in this whole cycle. So scientists divide sleep into 2 different categories, and that is non-REM sleep and REM sleep, and then the cycle repeats itself. So you're probably thinking, Hamp, what the hell is REM? What the hell is non-REM? So I'm just going to go into some of the specifics about the sleep cycle. So to begin with, non-REM is known as non-rapid eye movement and is known as non-REM. And this is where our body finds most of its rest. This is when you kind of recharge and reboot. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about non-REM, and then we'll go into the REM cycle. So the sleep cycle starts at 0, which is awake, which hopefully my audience is right now listening to my speech. So when you're in REM, when you're awake, you're going to see alpha brainwaves. These are the regular brainwaves that are going on everyday activity while you're going through life. And after you're awake, you go into this mode. So this is what happens when you're in class and the teacher turns off the lights for a slideshow. So once you get sleepier, you start seeing longer brain waves called theta waves that go and kind of interrupt your alpha waves. And you're not quite asleep, but you're not quite awake either. You're just a little bit in the gray area, like a little sleepy. So I'm going to go into this second step, sleep. So this is when the true sleep this is the first step of actual true sleep. And so what happens is these sleep spindles, your brain waves get even longer, the theta waves dip more and more. And just an interesting side note, this is actually something I learned in my research. This is called the K complex. So while you're asleep, actually your brain every once in a while will shoot these big waves, and your visual and like audio, like all of your processes, your senses get stimulated every once in a while just to check in case there's danger while you're asleep. And that's just a little interesting side note. And then, so this is deep sleep. So this is where the body gets most of its rest. Your blood pressure falls and your immune system gets hiked up. You recharge your body and try and recuperate against like sickness and illnesses that are happening in your everyday life that you don't know about. So after you go into deep sleep, you're going to start raising your brain level activity again into what is called REM, or rapid eye movement. So this is when our mind gets most of our rest, and as I was saying, this is kind of when you recoup, and while you're encoding your memories of the day, this is what happens during that processes. So in REM sleep, your brainwaves again start getting shorter, and it's like you're awake, but you're still frozen in sleep paralysis. So according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Resources Services on NICHD.com, you're going to repeat, after you go through REM, you're going to repeat this cycle 3 to 4 more times for a total of around 5 to 6 times throughout the night. So when you look at REM during your sleep, what's happening when you're dreaming is your brain is shooting random signals throughout its cortices. And this is kind of what creates the narrative and the setting of your dream. So when your brain is shooting those waves randomly along, it like picks up encoded memories and it kind of displaces them in like weird little like patterns. That's what kind of creates the core of what's going on in your dreams. So, you know, whether you sleep for 30 minutes at a time like Thomas Edison, or you hibernate like a bear all season, we all go through this process every night. Dreams have historically caused fear and ambition amongst mankind for centuries. Quote unquote, beware the Ides of March, as they said. However you interpret your dreams, I hope you've walked away with a process that's important to everyday life, and I hope you have understood something about what you do every single night. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about the rasp.